Hi everyone. I hope everybody's having a great day and welcome to Proverbs Home. I am doing great. Besides being a little bit under the weather the last couple of days, my stomach was really bothering me. My husband and we went and got Chinese somewhere. I love Chinese food. That's one of my favorite. And I think it was the scallops I ate. They didn't sit well with me. I love seafood now. But when it comes to mussels and stuff like that, for some reason it upsets my stomach. So I was kind of under the weather and I'm feeling a little better, unless I had a bug. That could be it too. And thinking it was the food, but maybe it was just like a 24-hour bug. But this is a Proverbs Home. Hi to all my new subscribers. Welcome. I am so happy that you are part of this channel now, and I am so looking forward to getting to know you. I wanted to talk about the word frugal because I was watching a video today, and the video, I watched a little bit of it, was talking about another channel that was supposed to be a frugal channel, but the other channel, the people in the channel were like going to places, they had like certain gadgets in their home. So the person was very disappointed that it was supposed to be a frugal channel. And I'm over here thinking, I can see how they feel. However, the word frugal does not mean poor. Let me explain where I'm going with that. Now, poor is where you're at a situation where you can't meet your daily needs, where you're struggling every day to meet your rent, you're struggling every day, you don't have the finances, you don't have the clothes that you need and stuff like that. Usually I consider people that are going through that poor. So let's look up the meaning of the word poor, and I'm going to type that in. Lacking sufficient money to live at a standard, considerable, comfortable, or normal situation in society. So that's the word poor. That's what poor means, okay? Now, frugal means sparing or economical with regard to money or food, okay? And the adjectives for frugal are prudent, cautious, careful, saving, economical, sparing, thrifty. Those are the adjectives for frugal, which many of you already know that. But I'm trying to make a point here. Frugal is where there are people I know that are frugal. Doesn't mean they're poor, but they save their money. They save their money. They save every penny they have. When they shop, they look for discounts. When they travel, they find the cheapest hotel. They go to a Motel 6. Okay, they find the cheapest motel to stay in so they can save their money. Frugal is going to the Ben and Dents. Frugal is going to, going to see a matinee instead of going to pay for a regular price movie, even though the matinees are probably just as expensive. Going to the thrift shops to buy your clothes instead of taking that money and going to a high-end, store. That's being frugal. Frugal is not that you never travel anywhere. Frugal is not that you never go anywhere. You never buy anything. You never have a solar. You never have this or that. That's not frugal. That's more like if you don't have the money to do any of that, then we are considered poor, right? But then there's also frugal, maybe people that are frugal, but maybe they have less, but they try to save every dime they have. It's a very tricky concept. People get frugal and poor mixed up. So when they watch certain channels, they think, well, they're lying because they said they're frugal, and look, they have a new blender, or they have a dehydrator, or they have this or that. So they must be lying. No, they could have got that dehydrator for very inexpensive. They could have traveled that trip. They could have saved up coupons to eat at restaurants. They could have gone on Expedia, I think that's what it's called, and look for a very cheap hotel room. They could have done all that stuff. They could have traveled somewhere, and maybe where they swap homes, somebody rents their place and they go and stay in somebody else's place in another state. There's many ways to be frugal. And I think people get those two concepts mixed up. So they get very offended if they see a frugal channel and they see that person prospering. Frugal is a good thing, because you save your money when you're frugal. You're thrifty. That means you know how to save for tomorrow. You know how to save for a rainy day. You know how to save for when your retirement. You know how to save for those things. I'm learning to be frugal. Have I always been frugal? No. I have not always been frugal. I've always worked. I've always worked ever since I was in high school. You know, we were taught to work. My mom didn't have any lazy kids sitting around the house. Once we hit that age where we could work, my mom was like, you should work. And I thank God that she did that, because that helped me to be able to save money and to use wisdom when spending. Now, have I always done that? No. So I think we need to be careful. People get those two concepts of frugal and poor. They get those two mixed up. And we shouldn't do that. You can still be frugal and save your money and still get some things you need and know how to shop frugally, or not shop at all, or just save all your money and not buy expensive things that you don't need to buy. I think a lot of people get confused with that, and then when they watch certain channels, they're like, well, but how'd they get a solar? How'd they get this? How'd they get that? And you know, some people, they do different things. They may get a free solar. You know, there's different things that people do. Or get something very inexpensive, or see it on Facebook Marketplace or something and get it for very inexpensive. You just never know. But part of being frugal is being thrifty, prudent. Prudent means being wise with your money, wise with what you have, not overly spending. You know, before, if I wanted to buy something, I would just buy it. I wouldn't think about it. Now I think about it before I purchase it. I make sure that I think about what I'm going to buy. I make sure I read the fine print on what I'm ordering. And before I would just hit the button and, oh, I like that, I want to get it. That's not being frugal. That's kind of being a little bit, you know, not a good thing to do. So, you know, there's many frugal tips out there. Frugal tips on saving your energy, you know, not paying so much on an electric bill. Saving frugal tips on buying food. Where do you go shopping? You know, do you eat out all the time? Or if there's a food truck that comes to your church and they're giving food out to everybody, don't be ashamed to have food. You know, people, they take that frugality thing and they think, well, you're never supposed to live life. You're never supposed to go anywhere. You're never supposed to have anything. I disagree with that. And I think when you're frugal, then it helps you to come out of poverty when you try to use your money wisely. And I know many people that spend $20-$30 on cigarettes, but yet don't have money to pay their rent or don't have money to buy their electricity. I'm not talking about people that lose their job. Those things come to all of us, things in our life that we have struggled with. But being frugal is wise. You know, I heard this saying, it's like, work hard now, play later. But the problem with a lot of us, we want to play now and work later, and then it catches up with us. We have to use wisdom, save what you have. If you have $10 and that's all you have, don't go buy cigarettes. Don't go buy beer or something like that. Take that money and save it. I've seen too many people doing that. Even for Christmas, people get themselves in a huge amount of debt to please people. And I guarantee you that half of the stuff that we buy people, they don't remember what they got. Unless it's something like an heirloom or something very important, but they don't remember what they got. Don't do that to yourself come Christmas. Don't do that to yourself for birthdays. Make a gift. You know, I love homemade gifts. I do. I love secondhand things. I don't get offended at anything like that. You know, but I don't mind secondhand things. I don't mind getting a used book. When I order from book.com, I get my books used. I don't fish out a lot of money. Poor will become poor if we're not frugal. If we're not watching our pennies when we get paid. You know, when I was younger, I was in my early 20s and, you know, my teens, I would take my paycheck and we would blow it on stuff. You know, I'd go to McDonald's and stuff like that. Well, the older you get, you learn not to do that. You have bills, you have rent, you have all this stuff you have to pay. But if we're not frugal, we could end up really in a tight situation. I'm not saying necessarily poor is bad either, because I've met many people that were poor, and I've heard a lot of people that were poor that they didn't even know they were poor because there was so much love in their homes, like Dolly Parton. You know, I heard her story since she was a child. I have her movie, The Coat of Many Colors. They were poor, but they had a lot of love in their home. So, they grew up feeling they didn't feel poor, you know, even though they were. So I want to just make sure I explain that. But however, it's important to be frugal. If you're frugal, then use your money wisely, and you might not have to struggle as hard if you don't use your money wisely. God bless you. I'll talk to everyone soon. I hope you enjoyed today. And like I said, once again, kisses and hugs to all my new subscribers. Bye.